Nick here. He's got a really good attack. One of the options that he uses for it. And well, that's it. Nic Tyson with Wisconsin Rugby Club out of Madison.
Cool. Thanks, Rich. And thanks for coming, everyone. The attack part, I'll just present what we do at Wisconsin Rugby Club for our attack. It's a 1-3-3-1 program. After we get through that, obviously answer questions about that, but I've also got the defensive presentation I did over there and the 90-minute coaching presentation. So if you have questions in any of those areas, I'm happy to speak to that. Just for people that don't know me, Nic Tyson, I've been coaching for 17 years. Started in high school, moved through a couple of different colleges, and now men's D1 club. So yeah, again, I like themes when I've got attack, defense, set piece, whatever. I think it helps people memorize the terminology. It's all safari based, so there's a lot of animals, there's a lot of stuff like that. Going straight into it, it's a 1-3-3-1 pattern. It's the forwards across the field. When building an attack structure, you want to be thinking about how you're going to attack, where you want players, like what roles you want players in. For us, our 2 pods of 3 in the middle of the field, we want forwards that are capable of winning the gain line, okay, so good carriers. We also want at least 1 player per pod that's able to throw either a tip or we call it a cut pass back to the playmaker, okay? So you want some gain line carriers and you want some skilled players in the middle of the field. And then obviously your 2 forwards on the outside are your attacking players, guys that can score tries or set other players up to score tries. Next slide, we'll kind of add in the backs. So obviously our 9 playing scrum half going to roam the field. We play in a 2 playmaker system. Ideally, that's our 10 and our 12. If the second player isn't a 12 and is a 13 or a 15, that's okay. It doesn't really matter. We throw our wings and our extra backs on the sidelines. Again, I'll show what this looks like without the 9 and playmaker. We want our forwards to keep their positioning, but we want our backs to be able to roam. So our forwards, we want to decrease the workload on attack. So on defense, their workload is increased. So they're not going side to side. They're not folding around for other phases. The backs are going to be the ones that create the overload. So we'll bring wings and centers off that sideline, bring them to this sideline. So that's how we create the overloads. Just taking a look at it without the 9 and playmakers, you can see it's basically 4 pods of 3 across the field. So something that's necessary for us in this system is being able to effectively attack in pods of 3. So that's an easy thing to train day after day and train in different environments. Okay, going to just our pod basic attack options. We call it ABC. If we don't have any call on, the 9 is going to give the ball to B, and we're just going to carry. That's no call. That's our base setup. Okay. Modern rugby, you want your ball carriers to be using some outside footwork. Anybody know why that is? Yep. Eat up more defenders. So if I've got the ball and I'm on the 3rd defender, if I use some outside footwork, I can engage the 3rd and 4th defender, and they have to fold at least 2 players. Okay. Just forcing the defense to do that is going to make them at least uncomfortable for a few seconds. Okay, we've got our tip calls. Maybe we should call it something different for A, but we call it a tip for either A or C. Who do we think makes those calls? Yep, A or C. So B's worried about reading the 9, catching the ball, and looking where he's going to run. Okay, it's A or C that are looking at the defense ahead of them, seeing if there's gaps or a soft shoulder to attack. Okay, so B's catching the ball. He could hear tip from either player and could either give or just carry strong. In this spot, what do we think our preferred tip pass is here? C. C. Yep, absolutely C. Again, same reasoning, eating in more width of the defense. But honestly, we want B to be running that kind of outside footwork line. What kind of line do we want C to be running? Yep, either straight up or slightly inside. Okay, if they're running a drift defense, we want C running against the grain to really pin that defender that he's on. Okay. So there's that tip option right there. That pod just cleans that up, and that's our base with just a tip call on. Okay, so we call our pass out the back to the playmaker a cut. As you can see, A, B, and C are all doing the same thing. Who calls cut?
Playmaker.
Playmaker, yep. Where's the playmaker looking to make that call?
Defense outside.
Yep, so defense straight ahead and outside the C, okay, possibly way out to the wing. But really, if we're gonna get it to the playmaker, we want them to catch it behind C and then attack the line to pin that defense. We don't want to allow them to continue to drift.
So I guess that's
Okay, so that's what it should kind of look like. We need that playmaker to then straighten up and attack the line, keep those defenders on us. Okay, for us, our call straight from 9 to the playmaker is cheetah. Okay, it's going behind that B. A is not going to get in the way. Why would we call cheetah? Yep, we see an advantage out wide that we want to take advantage of. Okay, and it's quicker to get the ball straight from 9 to the playmaker instead of 2 passes through that B option. Okay, for us, the 9 dragging.
How far wide are you on the 9? How far away?
What's that? On the playmaker, you mean?
No, you're 9 to your pod.
The B we want around 6 to 8 meters wide. Okay, we don't want the ball in the air forever, but we want to be out on the third defender.
Third defender?
Yeah,
Okay.
approximately the third defender, and then the footwork should engage that fourth defender. Okay, our call for the 9 dragging across is jackal. Okay, what we're looking for there, 9 getting out on that second defender. If he gets some nice width and the first defender comes with him, that inside gap for A is wide open. So we've got A running the switch, B and C running flat, and then the out the back option to the playmaker. So we have 5 full options in just that easy play right there. Okay, again, we still want A and C to be our ruck options there. Get that quick ball moving forward. Okay, here's that wing working off the blind side. We call it tiger. Again, tiger can either be wing calling it off the 9 if he sees some space inside, they're running a blitz defense and they're not covering that fringe, or else he can trail, run right behind the 10, the playmaker, and either hit inside or outside. Okay, so that's just our wing or our center coming off the sideline, talking to our 9 or 10, saying tiger, tiger, tiger. All right, here's our kind of wider options. This is how we set up off the sideline. What you'll notice is this playmaker, if he gets the ball, we need everyone to be an option. So we can't have that second pod forming up in front of him. That third pod, the one out here, we want to be somewhat flat. Why is that? Yep, that's reasonable. Why else would we want them somewhat flat? What's that? Yep, kick chase. So I want our team to be able to attack any part of the field, any phase. So if these guys notice, or this playmaker notices that they're all defending tight, we'll get that cheetah call, and we'll get a call to kick pass to the wing. Okay, so we want to have that as an option right off the sideline. But if nothing's called, we've got our B call on, we're good to go. Again, if he goes to the playmaker, we need him to straighten. And here, we're just playing off the 10. So it's the same options as off the 9. We can hit the B with nothing called. We can call another cheetah, or we can do that kick over the top. All right, so here's the spot where I'm calling out our backs that are roaming. So I want you to keep an eye on, I forget which one it is, the center, the weight from the breakdown. Okay, so we just ran straight up, no call, and then that center slotted into that tiger roll for us. The ideal spot to get is either behind that breakdown or behind this 10, depending on where you see the space. You kind of want to hide your run. You don't want to make yourself obvious and be like, hey, I'm an option. You want to either hide behind the breakdown or behind the 10 so that you're surprising the defense when you get there. Okay, here I've got a series of possible phases that we would run. I can take this back after it gets through there. Note how we're setting up as the ball's hitting that wing. We're back into 2 pods of 3 in the middle. The playmaker's not used, they just shift out so we can play off of the 10. This last page I have is just what's critical for us, for our different players. Forwards, we need the strength and power, work rate, handling skills, and fitness. Inside backs, we're looking for them for our playmakers, communication, kicking, passing. Outside backs, those are our scorers, those are our finishers. We want them to be able to be our best attacking players. So that's the whole of this slideshow that I had for our attack. Anybody have specific questions or want me to take it back to one of the other slides?
You guys play off 10 to the pod at all?
Very rarely. So the question is, do we play off a 10 to the pod? Playing in D1, most of the defenses we play against are aggressive enough where if we're going to do 2 passes to get it to a carrying option, they're going to be hitting that carrying option at least 5 meters behind the line. So unless there's an obvious gap to take advantage of, or we want to shift the ball wide, we're probably getting it into the carrier's hands earlier so they can set themselves up to take that contact. So generally we're playing off of 9, especially off of the sideline. I'll take it back to that slide. Just give me a sec.
You got this going.
So off that sideline, so say the edge of the screen is the sideline, why would we tend to hit a pod instead of a playmaker first?
Defense is in your face.
Sorry, what was it over
Your
here?
defense is in your face, coming up hard.
Yeah, so their defense, they don't have to have any defenders on that side of the breakdown. They've got probably 10 plus players on their feet ready to defend over here. Okay, so there's no danger for them launching really, really, really hard. So if we give it to a 10 and then give it to someone, they're gonna be whacking the shit out of us. Okay, so off that sideline, unless there's an obvious thing to take advantage of, we're probably just hitting it up with our base B, maybe giving a tip pass to a soft shoulder. That's what we're looking for unless there's something obvious to take advantage of. Other questions? Also, Barbarians, guys, I'm changing this for next year, so memorize it all you want.
Service and kind of build these animation PowerPoint.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a lot of work.
It's so work.
I've
Other questions on our attack or attack in general, and then I'll open it up to other stuff that I did earlier today.
I just got kind of like a comment to, I guess, reiterate what you were saying as far as the outside footwork and attacking that 3rd, 4th channel is super important that not a lot of teams I've noticed in the state really do. And having that, especially like you said with the drift defense, if you can commit that 4th guy to take you on, that quick tip ball is usually, if you can get that, like as you're getting hit, you get that little pass off, he's usually through.
Yeah.
So like that's
Especially
very.
if he's running a really good inside line
Yeah.
right off that 4th
Yeah.
defender's butt. That's either an arm tackle or maybe no tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just more basic version of that. Raise your hand if your club is really, really good with getting the weak side defense to fold around to the right spot early. Okay, that's kind of the point. So if we can attack and win the game line hitting that 4th defender, it should only take 1 phase to get an overload on that strong side. Okay, that's why that outside footwork, it's really an expectation at higher level rugby. Cool. Other comments, ideas about attack? Okay. I'll pull it back to the 90-minute coaching because I had just a question to do that one. I'll do kind of a quick version of this one. I like doing 90-minute training sessions. I believe it accomplishes a lot of things. I think it keeps me honest about how quickly I'm moving through everything. I don't like talking a lot the whole time. I like having the players be super active as opposed to standing in a circle, listening, just looking at the ground. I think 90 minutes is a rugby game with that 10-minute halftime. So I think if you can keep it active, that really mimics the physical load that you'll need for a game. And I also, since I think all of us are in an amateur environment, it really respects people's time. So not everyone is going to want to be out there 4 hours a week training, and the guys that do, you can provide that extra time for them. Okay. So I really like doing 90-minute training sessions. Just background about me. Was anyone at my 90-minute session this morning? Okay. Should we do the communication bit again? Nah? Okay. Beginning of training, my most important things to get done are body activation, brain activation, and setting a high standard for player engagement. So early on, obviously you're doing the body activation. I don't do any static stretching. It hasn't been shown to be effective at preparing your body for actual explosive movement. You want to do more dynamic stretching, high kicks, like arm circles, like over hurdles, stuff like that. Get your body ready to go. And then the brain activation. Without doing that, people go through the motion and they're not ready to go once you start training rugby. So the communication thing I did this morning was just finding different ways to communicate with limitations. So on the field, not all of your communication is going to be like, Joe, I'm on your right, give me the ball now. Okay, it's going to be different versions of that. And so giving them limitations, giving them parameters is going to make them think a little bit more holistically about how they communicate with their teammates. Questions on that little piece there? Okay. Just a quick quote about don't do any static stretching before training. After training is really good. Again, this is what I try and do before practice. A big part of me, even though I don't have my part, is that brain activation. One of my favorite things about rugby, I came from football and I became a rugby player within the first month, not a football player. Because I'm a big guy, the coach told me to use my brain. I don't think I ever got told that once in football. And so that's what I love about it. Everyone's got to be thinking critically out there on the field. For me, my most important aspects of training are that it's fun, active, and competitive. I think if a coach can create that environment on your team, the players are going to be the most engaged possible, okay? It shouldn't be me or anyone talking in pages or paragraphs. It should be at most 2 or 3 sentences at a time, and we're off doing something else. The more competition you can put into your training, the harder the players are going to try. And it doesn't have to be rugby specific. For me, end of training, I like to close with some kind of either competition or game. Again, have that really active, really tuned in feeling right at the end of training. And then a big piece for me, every single practice, I'll ask, who stood out to you and why did they stand out to you? And so it'll be on the players to point someone out, say, I really loved how, I loved how Rich ran a line that I could easily give him the ball and crash. That does a bunch of things. It tells the rest of the players what they're looking for out of their teammates. Okay? It's team building, like people think highly of both the person that called out Rich and Rich for doing the right thing. And it also informs the coach what the players are retaining. Okay, so what I hear at the end of practice is the stuff that I know the players are picking up on. Just an example of one of our training schedules. I've got 2 more of these. I hate circle talks. I try not to do them. It obviously happens at times, but I don't want to. I like to keep it moving and respect people's time. On this, are there any questions about specific things I've got up there? I'm sure some of it's Some of it people recognize, and some of it people might say, what the fuck is that?
What is big man?
Good. I can go to the next one. It's just 2 more examples of training plans. Just one part I want to call out are these chaos blocks. For me, that's where we spend the most of our time training. Chaos it's basically a ball in play. It's rugby, but with limitations. So the way we start it is I'll have 2 rugby balls. I'll blow the whistle. I'll either drop the ball on the ground, kick it somewhere, and we just start playing rugby from that spot. Okay? And then we have parameters. This one is groundwork. So every time you get tagged or tackled, either crawling or rolling on the ground, kind of emphasizing not letting the opponent put hands on the ball. If someone doesn't do groundwork, I'll blow the whistle and throw the other ball into play, and that's now the live ball. Okay? So it's kind of enforcing that we have to do groundwork every time we take a tackle. Again, over on the right, noodle turnover. I'll put a pool noodle on the field. The defense goes and picks it up. If the ball carrier gets touched with the noodle, it's an immediate turnover. The idea there being the playmakers looking ahead, finding the noodle, finding the weakness or the strength in the defense and avoiding that. Okay, so just a different way to kind of encourage your players to be looking at the other team and how to attack them. Any questions on that?
We did something kind of before, but you guys don't like it in disrupting activity when they're just starting to work. How often do you do that chaos ball?
If the attack is doing all the right things and they're going through their stuff, I'll let them go, the whole time. Like, I want to encourage the positive play and not really call out the negative play, but just say, if we do something negative, we're doing something else. Like, move on immediately. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, not hurting continuity, but our team, we kind of want to create chaotic situations in the game, and so we want to be able to train that stuff. All right, that's the end of that one. Any questions either on that 90-minute coaching attack or the defensive one?
Like your first one, we were talking about your tips ball, A and C, calling out tips. I think it's possible that both could be calling it out at the same time, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to come up with a different call for the inside option. And that's something that we had trouble with. Players want the ball. Players are aggressive. Sometimes they're calling it. We really had to work on, please don't call it just because you want the ball. Call it because you see a soft shoulder, you see a gap, that kind of thing.
Is that something that you could drill in practice or, yeah?
So that's something that I'd address in chaos. So in chaos, I blow the whistle and throw a new ball in if I saw a 3D tip call. Yeah. So that's those chaos blocks are really nice for that because you can easily enforce the things you want and easily punish the things you don't want. Yeah. One of my favorite things in the chaos blocks is I'll see someone coming at the line and I'll just yell line break, and that means defense leave him alone, he's through, and then we'll play off of that line break because that happens in the game, so you have to practice it, in the training session. Other questions? Cool. Yeah, sorry it's a short session. Blame Rich. I had 14 minutes warning. Again, I'm talking shit to Rich, but I really appreciate the work that they've done. Rich has been a big piece in this. I've said it a couple times already today. I have literally in 23 years never seen something like this in Wisconsin, and it's really impressive that it's here. So, and I say Rich, but I put that on everyone here. Not all the players and coaches in the state are here. The people that are here are interested in making the whole rugby community stronger, so I really appreciate that effort. Thanks, guys.